They come in, take your 1 to 3 minutes to kind of let them associate everywhere. A lot of times for jumpers, so I found out he jumped a lot. For jumpers, I'll just step on the leash. That way he can just be a kangaroo, but he can't actually effectively really punch me, really hurt me, right? So if I just step on the leash and I kind of go, just ignore him, just for a second. And I know Mom's like, tell him off. Don't, just wait for a second. Because I'll be honest, he jumped at me about 5-6 times outside. I said off twice. He didn't listen. I stopped playing it. It just is, he doesn't know. He doesn't know with me either. But part of what I want to, and that's unfair. He's like, there's a couple of kibbles right there. That's okay. It's like, that's part of a cheat sheet. There's a couple. But what I want him to start kind of doing is just to realize that naughty behavior, I would rather step on the leash and then get this, yes, and start paying him for that, than have him go bonkers and me go off, 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 and have to try to repeat it all the time. And for him to just learn to just hold still and impulse control, that's way better. You will just give him just your yeses. Yes, you did it. There you go.
Not that one.
Yes. So how I train again is with those 4 steps. He knows I have treats, right? Where's he looking? Where do I want him to look? Yes, that's how he gets it. And it can be as simple as starting to just yes and pay basic eye contact, because the very first homework assignment has to be, they have to be able to pay attention. If I did the whole organization, okay, so tonight we're going to teach your dog to sit, stand, down, we're going to teach him to walk nice, and throughout the level of class we're going to do this, and the 4 steps are this, goodbye, have a nice night. You think I was crazy. I'm not making eye contact, I'm not paying attention to you. I want him to learn how to pay attention to Mom, or me at this point. So what he needs to learn is that nothing necessarily good comes and nothing necessarily bad comes from what he's doing. I don't want to break his leg. No broken legs, no broken puppies. So I'm going to shorten my leash, right? But I want him to actually learn how to control himself. So all that jumping, there's treats up there, there's toys up there. He could have been a lot worse. He could have been grabbing stuff. Just guide him off. I don't say anything, I don't necessarily do anything except you can't do that right now. Because then I can start getting his attention. Yes, perfect. And then he starts going, okay. And how fast, remember that 1 to 3 minutes? How fast did it take for him to now start to go, all right, 1 to 3 minutes. Give him that little bit of an inch, because they're young, they're new. Let him kind of explore for a second, just a little area. Yes. And then start getting paid for it. So, what I want to teach, eye contact is their name. So I tend to teach that their name means to look me right in the eyes. I can hold treats off to the side, and then when he looks at me, then I can actually say, Harley, yes, and then pay. I can actually bring them over to say the right side of me. I have the lure, right? But then I pull the lure away, and when he looks up, Harley, yes, and pay. I'm sure Mom has practiced some of this, right? Because you went through a family class. Watch me, perfect. And so it might be just his name too. You know, I mean, look, it's tape. Yes. See? Look at that. Oh, it's tape. Did you read the sign? That's what you thought you had to do? That is called the woof. So all I want to start teaching, and then do you walk on the left or the right hand side typically? See on your left or your right side walk? On your right? Okay. So then we'll keep him kind of on the right. But again, if I'm going to lure him around, I want to lure that, pull that lure away, and he's got to do the work. And when he does the work, really, yes, then he gets paid. Okay? I do want to work him on the left side, because what if he's on the left side somewhere? So we'll bring him around to the right hand side with that lure. We can pull that lure away. If he wants it to sit, that's perfect. Good. Good. Yes. Good. And so all I want him to do is horrible bad dog, right? No. He barks. So come back over here. Remember what we were doing? We were being quiet about things. We were being patient about things. But here she is again. Scary Jackie. I don't know what's so scary. She moved. But he's not even paying attention, right? But even here, like I could go, oops, I dropped something. Unfair. Check it out. Yes. And so me, for check it out, we will work on that next week. But I wanted to just look at it and be like, oh, that's check it out. And then you get paid to not bark at it. What about quiet, not bark? Do you use quiet? Do you use shh? What do you actually use? Did not learn that. Did not learn that. Okay. So I check it out. Instead of paying him for barking, yes, or whatever you're going to use. But I don't say it until he's actually in the definition, right? So barking, which would be speak, 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 or here would be quiet, yes, and then pay. Does he have any understanding what that means? Not yet, but through repetitions building habit, he will figure it out. So one of the homework is actually to start with quiet because it's a, okay, what's it? There you go. See, it's a self-punishing behavior if you bark, because then you spit up the tree. Or it might be self-reinforcing. He gets it twice. Not thinking behaviors here. Not what he's thinking, trust me. Quiet, yes. He's like, oh, maybe that works. But what I want you guys to work on as a homework is to actually teach them quiet, because they're going to come into class, and a lot of dogs are going to come into class barking. Then we have something to fall back on. So, come here. Good. Quiet. Yes. Okay. So why am I saying quiet when he's not actually barking? Because I want him to know the actual definition. And what is the definition of quiet? Not to bark, to just stand there and look cute, right? Love that job. So we bring him over here. Yeah, scary Jackie again, doesn't even care. Quiet. Yes. Then we pay. And you do that for 3 to 5 minutes, and it's just quiet, 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 quiet. And literally just start to walk. Oh, you got that treat? Quiet. Yes. Right? So one of your homework assignments is to just start to be quiet. We at home would not be doing all these cues all together. For class, I have to, right? So quiet is one of them. I also teach a collar game. So the collar game is really easy to do if you're sitting on the couch, and it's really simple, but it's an effective game because then they don't play catch me if you can later. So I hold a treat, completely lured behavior. I touch their collar, I go, collar, yes, and I pay the dog. If I have to tell them to come when called, and I have to grab them by the collar suddenly, I don't want them going, wah, and running the other direction. And some dogs get collar sensitive where they're like, catch me, ha-ha, you're gonna grab the collar. I just desensitize them to going, hey look, I'm gonna grab your collar, yes. Sometimes I go, hey look, I'm gonna grab your collar. Let's go this way, yes. And we just desensitize them to wearing a collar and holding the collar, and I can bring them around, I'm luring them, I'm guiding them into the house, but then I'm guiding them back out. This wasn't such a bad idea, right? They're like, oh, this wasn't so bad. Did I see your hand again, or were you stretching?
Yeah, no,
okay.
So we have an Invisifence, and so they have like a collar for that, and then they have a harness.
Okay, the harness would be the same thing then. So I would hold the treat, and I'd be like, you know, you can say collar, you can say harness, right? Okay. Harness, yes. And you just basically are, if I grab this, you don't back away from it, you don't try to slip out of it. How many dogs have you ever grabbed their collar, they try to back away out of it too? Especially younger dogs. Like, I don't want to go leave the park yet. Whoosh, bye dog. I want them thinking that me grabbing the collar isn't always a bad thing. So 3,000 good times to the one I gotta grab it, right? Oh, I gotta grab you, let's go. Come on, let's go. Collar, yes, good. Oh, he's like, you tricked me. I thought we were in this lure game. But that's what I want him to think, is that it wasn't as bad as he thought it was. No broken legs. So it kind of makes sense for the collar game too. Again, 3 minutes, really easy to do on your commercials, whatever. That was his pattern. I sat and my barking was going to lay down. I don't know what to do. So, quiet? Yes. He's like, this lady's so weird. I'm just standing there looking at her and getting paid. All of these things are in very similar ways the same definition, right, to him right now. Through repetition, though, this will mean quiet. When you're sitting at the table and you're on the phone and they're barking, you'll just have to go, and they'll be like, oh, sorry. Or if I have to grab your collar, right? It's a lure, I'm going to grab it. It's going to be easy. Check it out. Quiet. Yes. So that he starts going, all right, well, maybe I bark, but then I'm done. And when I'm done, I get paid. There's that check it out. Quiet. Yes. Okay, maybe I shouldn't bark. So repetition builds habit. The name game, so his name, right? Any of the dog's names would just simply be standing and looking at them. And when he looks up, I don't lure them. I don't bring a food piece to my face. I simply stand here and I wait. Harley, yes. And then I pay. So that he thinks eye contact is that Harley thing, is a yes thing. Oh, and I get paid. So I should look at her as fast as I can. Or, if I'm over there, I don't, I'm assuming most dogs know their name 50-50. But if I go, Harley, he should immediately, yes, there you go, look up. And you see him kind of pocket check. He's like, is there something in it for me? Okay. And treat focus is okay. There's nothing wrong. If you pay for the rest of your life, you're not wrong. But I tend to go, I want them me focused, because what if I don't have my treat pouch on me long term? You know, I want to start teaching that even if it's on me, you still gotta look up here, right? And that's attention. And most dogs do avoid eye contact. They would rather look at other things. So I'd rather teach them to look up. And that eye contact also with other people then isn't as big of a deal, because a lot of aggression starts with eye contact. So he barks, but now he's quiet. Yes. And it was about 2 to 3 seconds in between. And that's a kind of a 3-second rule we'll discuss later, but I don't want to immediately go bark to quiet to yes to pay, because I don't want them thinking bark equals then my paycheck. But he barked, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, about quiet, yes, and pay. And we'll discuss that more later. But don't immediately pay for naughty behavior, like jumping up on the counter, off, yes, pay. You're gonna pay for jumping. Was there a hand or no? Oh, he wasn't sure. So eye contact name is a homework. You're going to pair that with the yes game to teach them. That's kind of on there, but basically teaching them that yes equals a paycheck. I teach them their eye contact. Quiet game, collar game. We can easily, like we have a dog that sits, or if you've started to teach sit, then when the butt is on the ground and when the dog is looking up at me, sit. Yes. Then I reach and then I pay. Then I move. Get distracted. Help. I want to get that butt on the ground. Don't have anything, magic fingers, right? They're used to that. Sit, yes. Then I reach, then I pay. You notice that the sequence of events is I don't even reach for the food, or if I have food, I would pull it away until after I say yes.
Okay, so my dog does not really seem to understand the whole sit thing.
Sure.
And
Well, that's basically, he doesn't either, per se. I want to lure the butt onto the ground, and then pull the lure away. So if I have the food in my hand, it's a lure,
Yeah.
and I lure the nose up. If the nose goes, there's a piece of food like right on the nose. That's the picture. And he's just like, hey. When the nose goes up, the butt tends to go down. And so then I pull the food away, and then when he looks at me, then I go, sit, yes. And then I move the food back.
Okay.
So that it's a lure behavior, but I'm not saying anything yet. When I pull the food away and he's looking at me, that's sit, that's yes, and now your paycheck comes back. And the same thing would go then if you're bringing them over to the side. So at home, furniture, walls, everything is a really good place to actually teach them how to like spin around. Put the nose up. Ideally the butt goes down. The food goes away. When the dog looks at me, sit. Yes. And then he gets paid. And then the same thing then to the left-hand side. Ooh, kind of cool. Lure him to the left-hand side. Nose goes up. Ideally, the butt goes down and the feet go come up. So we help him again. And you see how he wants to front, because he probably gets paid more in front, and more on the right-hand side, right? Good. You just practice that it occurs on all sides. Is it necessary? No, but I find that it's usually helpful, because then they start to get the concept of.
So you're saying don't always pay in front?
I try not to always pay in front, because you don't walk that way, right? When the
Right.
dog's in front. And again, yours can modify in a stand, obviously, too. Or settle or down. And, oops. Detrimental's crumbling a little bit, too. Good. Sit. Yes. And then we pay. Did I tell him to sit at all? Or did I let him work that out for about the minute and a half that he did? And he's like, oh, I feel frustrated. Oh, it's a little bit stressful. I'm sorry, but life is sometimes stressful, but I can still make it like, hey, look, there's still food here. I'm not saying anything. Work it out. Fine. And that give in, fine, is actually what I'm looking for. I want him to give in and go, now can I get it? Yep. And then so the next time, hopefully, he gets it faster.
So like, example, if you're playing fetch or whatever, when the dog turns around and starts running at you, you would say, come in then?
I'll go overcome in just a second.
Okay.
Sit, yes. So yeah, if the dog's running at me, then I would actually say, see you in there. Did anybody see that that was faster than the left-hand side, right? right? He actually even thought about the toys. I was like, oh, nuts, there's a treat thing there. So, yep, and there it is. Big, this is the natural balance roll I was talking about. I'll show you at the end. But all of these are pictures to the dogs. If I never taught him to sit on the left, I would specifically do that. If I never taught him to sit on the right, I would specifically do that. And likewise in front. I would actually jump them up on the couch, lure them on the couch, jump them up in the car, lure them in the car. Teach them that butt on ground or butt on something, looking at me is actually sit, yes, and pay. This then becomes down. Yes. And pay. And the next one is down. We will go over recall in just a second. But since he's doing it, this is the capture method. You like that beautiful sunrise? You take a picture. Would you be using a hand? Would you be saying down or lay? Down. Down. Okay. So and like a hand cue. No, it's okay. Like a finger point or a hand cue would be like down. Okay. So that would be down. Yes. When he looks at me. So the hand cue they're going to look at, right? So they're going to go, what's that? If they would break, then I'd lure them back into a down and then repeat the hand cue. But then when they look back at me, then that's down, yes, and pay. Right? So if we get him up, I'm assuming you lured him, you started down before, I believe. Or no, in puppy class? Okay. And was it from a sit or from a stand? Sit. Okay. So if we lure them into an SIT, you can do it that way, or you can do it from a stand, which you'll see in some of the other videos. We lure them to the ground. We pull the lure away. And when I pull the lure away, then I go down. Yes. And I paint it up. But I want the eye contact part of that definition. Because to me, everything begins and ends with eye contact or attention. Because if I say down and he's facing the squirrel, they may or may not do it, but he's still facing the squirrel if he does. I want them to be like, not like this. I want them to be like, can I go get the squirrel now? Nope, you have to stay. Fine. But I want them to pay attention. Because it does break them from something that they're fixated on.
So right before he was down, he was perched.
Okay.
I'll call it.
His butt in the air, right, with Pierce?
He sat down and he's like ready to sprint.
Okay.
Versus
the lay flat. And that's I think I have it on video actually for Pierce earlier today, because I work his dog at day camp today. I have it on video where he does lay down flat. I would wait for it. Like nothing wrong. Like wait for it. Don't say anything. You wait for it. And when he does it, then it's down.
Because
yes.
If he's ready, he could launch.
Correct.
Right.
And he's like, you know, so if you know, the hip flip with the dog, like he's what we call hip flipped, he's flipped on one hip, that's ideal in a way, because then you know he's not going to get up. He's tired. He's like, seriously, late, it's bedtime. So I'd rather, you know, have a hip flip if it's natural. You can lure it, or you can just wait and see if they do it. If they're sternal or they're perched, that's okay. We just teach them how to control that better. But butt in the air is not all the way down, so I want to make sure he's all the way down before I do it. And so I wait for it to happen. If that means your dog is like, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it, you know, there you go. So pretend they're like this, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it. I would actually kind of start to do yes and pay with them being in a bow, because then I can at least start them in the right direction. So I can wait for the down, because he did it, he's understanding it. This dog understands a little better because he had a puppy social. But if they're not understanding it, you can get a portion of the down and start yesing it a couple times and then start waiting for the full down. Okay? If you're having trouble with that one, it's not as necessary for next week, but call, email, you know, take a mini video and I can probably problem solve for you as to what's happening. Okay? Good boy. So sit, down, quiet, name recognition, collar game, jumping off, and we'll do the recall. So now that he's tired, is the perfect time to teach off. If there's ever going to be kids, or if you think that your dog's ever going to say hi to kids, which is in general most neighborhoods ever, I usually use a physical cue like crossing my arms or putting my hands out flat. So if I do this, off, yes, and pay, move to another new spot, good. Or I can do off, yes, and pay, and all he starts to see is this or this. So I can tell the kid, cross your arms or hold your hands out, and they can usually replicate that very fast. So if I have a bouncy, boisterous dog or a young dog, we can stop that behavior very quickly. And if they are ever going to go run to somebody, most people do what? So we can teach them to do that. Perfect, Mom. She's thinking, she's like, Exactly. But see, when he's tired, so this is like, again, another commercial training. Bring him over here. Off. Oops, yes. Didn't mean to flip it in the face. I didn't care. What about stuff? Same cue, right? Same definition. Here's the fun stuff that he wants. Off. Yes. And I can still pay him for it. Here's the big treat roll that he wanted. This is the natural balance roll I'm talking about. It looks like that. It's dog food, but it comes like a Humber sausage. I really like it because it's a balanced food. But there's that fun thing. Off. Yes. And he's not going for it. So all counters become, just like, with your dog and head, a little bit more lips off too, but all counters, anything you have on a table, I would be like, hey, look, there's fun stuff. Off. Yes. And pay the dog. And he just is starting to go, stand here and look cute, equals off, equals yes, equals check. Make a decision. Off. Yes. All right, I just look at her, I get paid. This is a cool job. Right now, they all look similar, but through repetition, I want him understanding each individual word means something different. So I go around my kitchen, I go around my living room tables, everything. I will put stuff there, but if he's not jumping up on stuff, it's off. I will also use my furniture, like I will lure them up on the couch if they're allowed, like up, but then I'll lure them off, and as they're going off, I'll be off as soon as their feet are on the ground. So you can teach them up and off, so that if they're on the couch and you have guests come over, off, the dog goes flying off the couch. Beautiful dog. He's like, okay, seriously. So makes sense for the off game too. Couple, yep,
So they're on the bed.
yep.
You tell them you just kind of like this,
I would, yeah, I'd be like,
and then once they're all 4 feet, or
Yep.
paws, are on the ground.
or in motion. Like if you know all 4 paws are in the air, they're going to hit the ground next, so that could still be off. Yeah.
That could still be off. They don't
Exactly.
actually have to be physically
Correct.
off.
If they're like dedicated to the next step, then it's off because it's the motion, right?
So they don't actually
But, yeah.
have to look at you for you to say off. when they're
Not
jumping
for that
down.
one. Good question though. Not for that one. Yeah, because a lot of times I'm doing this anyway, so they're like, "Oh, you look fun." Follow the hands and then off. Yes. Or if they're on the bed, and I didn't want them on the bed, it would be off. Good dog. I don't
Mine's
pay
like
you
a
for that.
Cement block in the middle of the bed. I can never get her to move.
Yep. So we make it fun, but then also throughout the day, practice up, yes and pay. Off, yes and pay. Up, yes and pay. Off, yes and pay. You know. Is that on camera? Hopefully that's on camera. That would be cute. But Cheerios, like if I'm working in the bedroom or anything and I don't want dog food and crumbs everywhere, Cheerios, banana chips, green beans, carrots, those are all things dogs typically like anyway, and they're not going to create a huge mess. Okay? So I tend to have something, like he's thinking about it. Off. Yes. I like how he actually called it. Oh, she talked to me. So I want him to say, instead of jumping to get my attention, just kind of stand here and look cute. Yup, exactly. Off. Yes. And he doesn't have to sit, in my opinion. If he defaults to sit, that's fine. But any 4 on the floor is off. Off of the counter, right? Off of the bed, 4 on the floor. So any questions, any other questions for that? So then come when called, the most critical, right?
Mm.
I'm by myself typically, so the game that I typically play is something along the lines of in the house or even out in the backyard. I'll toss a treat. Harley cup? Yes. And pay. I'll leave a treat. Harley cup? Yes. That picture. Did that picture look different than any of the ones that you guys do? On the ground.
Do you do a leash when you're?
Yep. When I first start off, I do.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to, but if you have multiple dogs especially, put one up.
Yeah.
And in the backyard, if you're whistling for 5 minutes and the dog's like, nope, and you don't have a leash on them, how do you prevent bad behavior? I want to create the most successful behavior in the first few days or even the first week. So a lot of times even in the backyard, I will go out for a recall session with the leash on. I can drop it, but then I can, if they're going to go over to the bush, I can step on it, prevent that behavior, have that 1 to 3 minutes, and then go, would you like to come when called now? Or I can pick up the leash and we can walk back in the house if they don't want to work for me. So they don't get freedom by blowing me off. They earn freedom by listening. So if you come when called a few times, then I'll unclip the leash and you can go play. But I want to teach come when called first. So I want to prevent every bad behavior. Harley cup? Yes. So
Are you
kissy
making eye
noise.
contact then?
Sometimes yes and sometimes no. Another good question. I don't require it, but sometimes they're racing over looking right at you.
Okay.
Totally fine. It's not really required though, especially in younger dogs, beginning dogs. Advanced behavior, yeah, like for competing. Ideally, we want them looking at us. But I'll toss something away. But I'm not pulling him. Let's go. Whoops. Because he could come over, or he can go over that way. Harley, come. Hi, yeah, good boy. He's like, oh, where are we going? I don't know why we want to go outside. So I'll leave a treat there. I'm not pulling him. But when he's ready, like after he eats, I give him a chance to eat it. He's still chewing, so. Harley, come. Yes. But do you see that this presentation is on the side of me? It's not always in front of me. And it can be as simple as even on your walks. What you say and when you say it matters the most. You could be doing 3,000 repetitions on your walk by simply, Harley, come. Yes. And hey, you get a lovely loose leash walking if you're saying Harley, come, yes, and pay, Harley, come, yes, and pay, Harley, come, yes, and pay. And you're doing that 3,000 times on your walk. Guess where your dog stays? Yeah, people don't realize, like you, every moment they're awake, they're learning something. Harley, come. Yes. So if he's focused on the treat bag in the hands, that would be my, like in a couple weeks, we're going to fade from that a little bit more. But he's not wrong as long as he's in motion to me. So anytime, and then if I see that, I'll tend to put it up. Pieces here. Crumbs. So if I see that, then I'll tend to be like over here. And I'll be like, Harley, come! Yes! And then we go and get it to feed him. So it becomes out of the picture. It's not necessarily on me. In the house, you can put, a couple of treat jars everywhere, and then you have 3 seconds to get to them. Your yes buys you time, so you don't have to feed them immediately after. You have about 2 to 3 seconds. If they learn that yes equals a paycheck, you can be saying yes, and then you can go get the paycheck and get it to them. Because they're thinking, I did it right, what am I getting? If they learn that game. So it buys you time, and eventually we won't say yes, we'll just ask them sit, and we'll say good dog. Because I'm assuming most of you will still feed your dog on occasion, and treat your dog on occasion. So when we get the habit, we can make them work for it more. Any questions?
This will all be emailed to us,
Yes.
or
Yep.
throw on the way out
Yep.
for?
Yeah, yep, it'll all be emailed. 4-step program, recall, sit, down, eye contact, beginning the off, the quiet, the collar game. A homework assignment is to at least go on one field trip somewhere other than your house or backyard during the week. I say one field trip at least because it's going to get you to a new environment to practice before you come to the class. And you'll then see what your dog actually does in the pet store. Come here in the reception room. You can be around distractions at the vet office, make it a fun cookie visit at the vet office, but then you'll see kind of what your dog does. And capturing settle, yes. It's just when he does it, he gets paid to do it. And that's what settle means. So in the house, how often does your dog just go and lay down and chew on a bone? How often do you actually say what that is, yes, and you pay it? Start doing that. In order to teach him how to go settle and how to be a settled dog, I'm going to be like, settle, yes. He just winked at me.
Did you wink back?
No, I paid. That's a trick though. You wink at another dog, usually they'll do a wink and then you'll be like, wink. Yes, and pay. But anytime they're settling, you can be watching a TV show and have a little Dixie cup of banana chips next to you so you don't have to wash your hands, or popcorn, again, something that you don't have to wash your hands for, Cheerios. And I can just be like, whew, he's laying down, settle, yes. Pay the dog. And I'll go back to my show. He's chewing on his bone again after 5 minutes. Settle, yes. Grab my banana chip, to the dog. So he hears that 100 times, 1,000 times, 3,000 times, and suddenly he's like, well, Mom's busy watching a show, I should go lay down. Yeah, even if I'm up there, I'm still watching your butt. And that's what they learn. They're like, oh, they don't have to look at me in order to watch me? Nope. That's why you can't leave the room. Even if I'm looking somewhere else, doesn't mean I'm not paying attention. So teach them that they get paid for doing the right decisions. And this is a great decision. Harley, settle. Yes.
So what if the room's big enough to where you have a leash, but
and kind of wander around.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the room's big, right? So you want them to be able to move around, but
Yeah.
if you have a leash and you're trying to step on it, you can't have them use the whole room, really. You know, even though you can see them.
Well, so it depends on what you do to block the room. It's like how many entrances to that room do you have? You know, like in my living room, I have kind of 2 main entryways, but I kind of move a chair there, and I'm sitting here, so that if they go, they have to kind of funnel through here in order to leave that room. So I know if they can, you know, wander, and I can be paying.
Yeah.
What was that out of nowhere? What was that out of nowhere? Yes. Where's that mouse? Okay, here, puppy. There you go. Oh. There you go.
So yeah, because our basement, we have a laundry room that has 2 different entrances, and
Okay.
then we have a storage room that has an entrance, and then
Okay, and that's kind of where they hang out a little bit. I'm assuming it's like where they hang out a little bit more.
yeah,
Okay, you know, so can we put a hamper at one of the entrances so that we block off at least one? You know, but again, if your dog is leaving the room, so we need to prevent leaving the room if they're out of sight. If they're out of sight, you don't know what they're doing. If they don't know what they're doing, are they getting into trouble? Then they're reinforcing themselves, go out of sight, get into trouble, chew on a wire. And again, as a technician, I've just seen the worst of the worst. I've seen the socks getting eaten with $3,000 for foreign body surgery. The wires from a laptop burn the crap out of a dog's mouth. You know, there's a lot of things that can happen if they get out of sight fast. So I go, can we block it while they're learning? The end goal being they are fine in the house, but we've got to teach them how to be in the house. You settle in the house, you're on your bed in the house, you chew on your bones in the house, you get reinforced for all that, and then I'm not even going to look for the wires anymore. So that's kind of where, can we block it enough that then you can still see them or know that they're going out of sight, that you can actually go get them and bring them back.
yeah. His dog just wants to go in there and poop. It's really
Yeah, so if he's going out of sight to poop and you clean it up, then it works. So he's going to keep doing it.
Okay.
Yep. So if you kind of, if you know they're starting to head that way, then I'd be like, you gotta go OUT, you gotta go OUT, do a potty dance. Like, and I typically do a potty dance. I get my dog so excited that they start to do a little potty dance, and then they come and get me and go, I gotta go upstairs, me. And I go, oh, you gotta go outside. Let's go outside then. So that way they come to get me versus, oh, she's gonna clean up if I go under. I think he sees a reflection. Like, because like I see the tail wagging, and I wonder if he's like, who's that handsome golden? Sassy. You're going through your little fear period there. There you go. Oh. Find it. Puzzle toy, right? Gotta find it a little bit. You gotta roll it around. But so yeah, I would block it. You know, if we can block it or prevent it, that's what the leash is for. To kind of prevent it. Because then, when they're fully house trained, when they're not chewing on things they're not supposed to, when they're actually being the house dog I want, the leash comes off because they're in a habit. They're like, whatever, I don't care. They go lay down. Perfect. That's what I want for my 10 plus years. And think of it in this term. If you have several weeks to several months of training, but it lasts 10 plus years for doing it that way, is that okay with you? So can you prevent it for several weeks to several months, really build a good habit? How you feel? Yes. And then be able to have 10 plus years of that training be effective. You know, that's what I look at. And that's what I want to develop.
Our dog doesn't go poop outside, but he comes right in and goes poop in the basement right away.
Okay. So I would be going out with my dog on leash, and if he doesn't poop, then I'd come in and I'd actually put him in a kennel for 2 to 3 minutes. I would be outside for 2 to 3 minutes, and I'd come back in and he's in a kennel for 2 to 3 minutes. And then in 2 to 3 minutes, I take him out. I'm gonna go outside. Let's go potty. Let's go potty. We go outside. If he doesn't poop, he goes back in the kennel until he poops outside. Then he gets paid, and he gets a potty dance, and he gets freedom of the house. Until he's emptied out, though, he doesn't get any freedom in the house. Because then he goes, well, I'm just going to come in. It's more convenient. And when it's 20 below, I want him knowing that that's where he goes within 2 minutes. And I don't want to stand out there when it's 20 below, nor do I want you pooping in my house when it's 20 below. So it's 2 to 3 minutes. Do your job, you get paid. Or you go to the kennel for a little bit, 2 to 3 minutes. But instead of 30 minutes outside, I go 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. Yes, good job. You're empty. Woo! Let's go in the house. Unclip the leash. Party time. Kongs, bones, run, play. It's a celebration. Yeah, for 2-3 weeks it's a celebration. And then what? Are you celebrating? We're celebrating? What's the matter? Are you celebrating? He doesn't know I hear him, but I want him to play with him.
I want to howl.
Yeah, he's out of house too. It's bedtime. I'm tired now. I've been working. I've been doing good. There you go.